formation with Butler at tailback. Lebanon jumping around on defense. Drop by Norville over the middle. Oh, in and out of the hands of Hayes, and now Pitt deciding to get into the action as the ball goes by, and he gives Hayes a little bit of a shot.
Just like a school of sharks getting the taste of blood, that Lebanon secondary teeing off on these Mount Juliet receivers. The ball just cleared the hands of Hayes, and here came Pitt, and he put him on the ground.
I think Pitt's a little upset he didn't intercept that one a while ago, and he's going to take it out on somebody. 3rd and 10 for the Bears from their own 33-yard line. 1:10 remains in this ball game. The Blue Devils, unless something really miraculous happens, looking to go to 2-1 on the season, but more importantly, 2-0 in the region. Crowd getting back into the ball game near the end. Norville is going to run the option. He will pitch to Butler. Butler wishes that he hadn't, as he's going to lose right at 4 yards, as up to meet him is Jeff Gannon.
Lebanon just teeing off on those guys, coming up really hard on the run play, and Mount Juliet trying to make something happen there on the option. I thought for a second that was a play fake, and they came on down the line on the option. Lebanon secondary going to back off the football, give the receivers plenty of room, and Phillips was trying to get back out on the field, Sam, and Coach Dillard held him off.
4th down and 14, 30 seconds remain in the ball game. Norville, drop, pressure, he'll roll to his right. Being chased by Crockett, now gets it away, complete to Butler, who gets up to the 48-yard line. That's enough for a first down. They will stop the clock with 12 seconds remaining. I'm not sure if they're going to rule that he got out of bounds or they're going to rule that it was a first down. I think the Blue Devil coaching staff saying now he was in bounds.
Randall Hutto lobbying to keep him in bounds, and now the secondary is going to back up. Mount Juliet going to try to maybe throw it toward the end zone.
And the clock rolls as they're trying to get the man off the field. He does throw it out of bounds. 4 seconds now remain. 3 seconds. As now some of the defense, Tommy, telling the crowd, come on, let's get in it. We're about to win.
Lebanon trying to hold Mount Juliet out of the end zone. John, a great job by that secondary coming up and really throwing some shots.
Really like seeing a secondary that goes after, I guess, headhunting is the way you could see it. Pitt on the right side, C in the middle. They're really delivering some blows tonight in that defensive secondary.
It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Bears. 3 seconds remain in the ball game as they trail 13-0 to the Blue Devils. So Norville may just drop back and throw it up for air. He's got 3 wide receivers. He's got Alpha and Chandler to the left, Daniel out to the right. And he will roll to his left a little bit, not a lot of pressure. Hangs one out there. That'll be intercepted by Pitt, so he will get one. Comes back 40, 45, puts his head into Butler at the 48-yard line, and the game will come to a close, Tommy, as the Blue Devils will pick up a 13-0 victory over rival Mount Juliet. We'll take a break, and when we return, we'll have the wrap-up for you.
Welcome to the post-game show with head coach Bob Dillard. I'm your host, John Bryan. The post-game show is brought to you by Steve Jones, Century 21 Macon Realty, Tim Bennett Insurance, College Street Church of Christ Youth Ministry, Greg Brothers Car Wash, and Chum's Convenience Store. Coach Dillard, congratulations on a big region win.
Thank you, John. It was a big win for us. A game like this, there's always so much emotion involved in it that always concerns you. But our guys came out and gave a good effort. We didn't move the ball much in the second half, but our defense stepped up and made big plays when we had to have them.
Defense played well all night long. Like you said, the big play there with the interception down deep in our territory. Lehue came up with it.
Right. Lehue's played well for us all year long. He gives a good effort, and like I said before, you know, we bent a time or two, and they moved the football on us some, but when it got down to the nitty-gritty, we made a big play.
Can't talk about the defense without talking about your defensive secondary again in Ron C. and Pitt on the corner, making big plays all night, tearing people's heads off.
Well, they did a good job. We stressed to them all week that Mount Juliet was going to come in here and throw the football on us, and they've heard us throwing it in the past, and we challenged those guys, and they responded well.
Coach, first play of the game, you went up top. Did you see something in the films that made you go that route?
No, not really. We just felt like that against Columbia, they played us real tight and didn't give us any cushion, and we thought if we could do that early, then maybe that'd make them think and back their corners up a little bit. And they had us covered, looked to me like, but Joel just went up and made a heck of a catch and went over the guy and made a big play for us.
Was the heat down here at the field, on the field, a big factor tonight? I know you kept fresh guys in there all night long.
Yeah, we tried to keep our guys fresh. It was hot. This is the hottest night we've played, and I think that was evident because we had some guys cramping there at the end. But our guys, we feel like, are in pretty decent shape, and some of those guys are having to play both ways, though. They got tired.
Jade Sellers, both sides of the ball, offensively had a good night.
Yeah, Jade did a good job for us. We haven't run him a whole lot on offense, and we felt like tonight was going to be a night when we were going to turn him loose, and he did a good job carrying the football for us.
On his touchdown run alone, he saw something, cut it back against the grain, and went untouched.
Right. That's the kind of thing that you can't teach. That's instinct running, and Jade sees the field well, and he saw daylight and cut back and got us an end zone.
Jason Reeder, the Blue Devil quarterback, took a shot in the chin tonight.
Right. Reeder got drilled in the chin, and he comes over and he's bleeding like a stuck hog, but he's a tough kid. Reeder might weigh 140 pounds if he's wet, and he's out there with big guys, but he's gritty, and he got his chin fixed and came right back.
No problem getting the guys up for this game this week, huh?
No, we haven't really tried to motivate them this week. We just feel like that the word Mount Juliet is enough motivation for our guys. And, in a game like this, you get concerned with having too much emotion. And then if something bad happens to you early, then you go flat. So we felt like our guys would be ready to play without a lot of motivation this week.
Coach, this week coming up, we got homecoming, got the team coming down from Kentucky.
Yeah, that's true. Homecoming's always big, and you got to win on homecoming to keep the alumni happy. So we need to have a good week of preparation and get this homecoming taken care of and all those festivities, and then take care of business at 7:30.
Coach, had a big thing happen this week to one of your coaching staff. Richard Anderson had a big new thing happen to him.
Right. Coach Anderson and his wife Gina, birth of their second child. She was born last night about 9:30, and Coach Anderson got the call about 2:30 yesterday, and went home, and we're all just tickled to death for them. We're just happy as we can be for them.
Coach, once again, congratulations on a big region win, a big rivalry win, and good luck this week. Everybody seems to be healthy.
Yeah, I think everybody's healthy. We got a few little nagging injuries, but nothing real serious, I don't think. So we're pretty healthy.
Congratulations, Coach. This has been the post-game show with Coach Bob Dillard. I've been your host, John Bryan. The post-game show is brought to us by these fine sponsors: Steve Jones, Century 21 Macon Realty, Tim Bennett Insurance, College Street Church of Christ Youth Ministry, Greg Brothers Car Wash, and Chum's Convenience Stores. Back up to Terry Stafford's for the wrap-up and the stats.
Thank you, John. Lebanon defeats Mount Juliet tonight, 13-0 to go 2-0 in Region 4 5A. I'm Terry Stafford with the final stat recap. Let's take a look at the scoring recap, and all the scoring came in the first half. Lebanon with 8:21 left in the first quarter. Joel Griffin, a 9-yard touchdown run as Lebanon goes 66 yards in 6 plays. Kyle Zachary kicked the extra point, and at the end of the first quarter, Lebanon led 7-0. Lebanon scores in the second quarter, 6:26 left. Jade Sellers goes 36 yards for a touchdown. Lebanon going 65 yards in 6 plays this time. The extra point was no good, and at halftime, Lebanon led 13-0, and that turned out to be our final as Lebanon defeats Mount Juliet 13-0. Taking a look at team stats, first for Mount Juliet, 38 carries on the ground, 147 yards. Through the air, 61 yards passing on 3 of 10 tonight. No touchdowns. The Lebanon defensive secondary picked off 3 Mount Juliet passes, 3 interceptions for Mount Juliet. 208 total yards for Mount Juliet. First downs, Mount Juliet with 11, 7 rushing, 4 by passing. Mount Juliet turned the ball over 4 times, 3 interceptions and a fumble. On the ground tonight, Mount Juliet's leading ground gainer was Tito Butler, 81 yards on 20 carries. Total, they had 38 carries for 147 yards. Passing tonight, Norval was 5 of 15, 61 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's 61 yards passing, 147 on the ground. Total yardage for Mount Juliet in the game, 208. Now for Lebanon, 27 carries, 117 yards on the ground. Through the air, Lebanon was 60 yards passing on 3 of 10 passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Total yardage for Lebanon, 177 yards. Lebanon with 10 first downs, 7 rushing, 2 by passing, and 1 via the penalty. 10 first downs for Lebanon. Lebanon did not turn the ball over tonight. 0 turnovers compared to Mount Juliet's 4. Individually for Lebanon tonight, Jason Reeder, 4 carries for -7. Bo Grissom, 3 carries for 5. Chris Stafford, 6 carries for 7. Joel Griffin, 4 carries, 36 yards. Jade Sellers, 10 carries for 76 yards. That's 27 carries, 117 total yards for Lebanon. Reeder tonight passing 3 of 10, 60 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. 60 yards passing, 117 yards on the ground, 177 total yards for Lebanon. And Tommy, I've heard you say it several times, they can't beat us if they can't score. And for the 8th consecutive year, Lebanon does not allow Mount Juliet in the end zone.
Great job, Terry Stafford, with the stats, and that is so true, as this Lebanon defense once again rising to the occasion against Mount Juliet. And it's one of those weird things, folks. Mount Juliet has not been able to score against the Bears. And Sam, this is your first dose of this Lebanon-Mount Juliet rivalry, and there's some emotion being played out on the field.
That there is, Tommy. I was not really surprised knowing high school football, but this is a little bit bigger rivalry than you really thought. You know, you beat a team 7 straight years, you don't allow them to score, you kind of figure you're going to come out a little, you know, not really worry about them, we're going to roll over them, but that's not at all what the Blue Devils' mindset was, and they came out ready to play, and that was evident by some of the hits we saw this evening.
A lot of fight in those Mount Juliet guys as they got after it, but Lebanon prevails by a score of 13-0. Folks, next week will be a good one, as we'll have the broadcast of the homecoming activities, and Lebanon will be playing Kaywood High School out of Harlan, Kentucky next week. We'll probably have a little extra film for you, as we'll have the band highlights and the homecoming attendance and all kinds of festivities surrounding high schools, the Lebanon High homecoming. And as I've heard it said before, the dance isn't much fun if you don't win the game. So our kids have got to buckle down, enjoy homecoming. But Sam, as Coach Dillard referred to there in the closing, they've got to take care of business at 7:30.
That they do, and the team coming down from Kentucky, probably a team that they don't know a whole lot about, haven't played, and don't have really anybody to judge against. But a good game is what they need next week to be able to go the week after to Oakland, which is really going to be a very important matchup for the Blue Devils, as you figure 3 of their biggest games of the season, that with Oakland, Riverdale, and Gallatin, all on the road. And they've got to pick up that win against Oakland to be sitting at a decent spot in the region.
Absolutely. So, folks, stay with us as this crew continues to cover Lebanon High football throughout this 1994 season. For John on the field, for Terry with the stats, Sam Axley with the play-by-play, and Dwight Phillips running the camera, I'm Tommy